Welcome to the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce News and Views. I'm your host, Diane Sawyer, President and CEO. And today's guest we have with us, Hollifield. So today is a Meet the Ambassador. So welcome to our newest ambassador.
Thank you, Diane, for having me this morning.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm so excited. You know, we have known each other now for going on 14 years. So when I reached out all those years ago and said, hey, my cousin told me that you were starting to take newborn pictures and I'm due with a baby girl.
I got to meet Raleigh Kate. She was maybe a week or two old.
Yeah, it was itty bitty. Yeah. So we've known each other for a long time. But even when you started becoming involved in the chamber a little bit, I never dreamed we'd be sitting here, that you would be interviewing and be an ambassador. And so a lot's changed. So we want to go back and just kind of pick up. So our relationship, both personal and professional, has, as we said, been going on for almost 14 years. But more recently, I would say probably 5 or 6 years ago, you got involved in the chamber and became a chamber champion for us. And so you've kind of become a staple, just like our beloved videographer, Roy, who's behind the camera here. You have become our photographer that we have at all of our events and major things. And then you've become involved in our directory project for the last several years.
I have, yes.
So very excited to actually have you on the show and get you in front of the camera and for people to see you.
I'm so nervous.
Don't be. It's fine. So tell us a little bit about, this is Meet the Ambassador. So tell us who you are. Tell us a little bit about your family, your business, anything you want to share.
Yeah. Gosh, I started 15 years ago, believe it or not. Honestly, just wanting an outlet. I had 2 girls. Actually, I had just Cheyenne at that point, I think. I just needed an outlet and always had a camera. My mom will tell you growing up, we went to Walmart to develop film twice a week at least. And it just felt natural to do that, and quickly took off. And 15 years later, here we are. Like, it's crazy. Like I said, I got two daughters. Cheyenne is almost 17. It's crazy. It's hard to believe. She's going off to college soon, and I can't even think about that. Haley is 15. She recently switched schools and is at a big school now and is thriving. She is my big ambition kid. She wants to go to Brown University and be in their JROTC program and be a writer. So big ambitions for that one. So, but they keep me busy. Sports, all kinds of things. Just between running my business and with them, there's not a free second.
Yeah, they're so different, but they are so both really phenomenal.
I got very lucky. Yeah, I did. Just like any kids, they give you stress, they give you, heartaches. And I can remember my dad saying when I had Cheyenne was, kids will drive you crazy. They will keep you up, they will disappoint you, and then they'll just do that one thing that makes it all worth it.
Yep.
And then the cycle repeats. So that's basically, that's what having kids is that it's crazy. And then they do that one thing and it's just makes it all worth it.
Yep.
So.
I got one of those messages last night from somebody who was saying that my 13-year-old, they had identified her at a football game and they were, hey, I just want to tell you, she wasn't with the unruly kids, and she offered to carry my
Makes
kids.
you proud, doesn't it?
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. Like I'm doing something right.
Yep, and that's the final thing she said to me last night, because I was talking about, I was like, as a mom and as a professional, and just so busy this week, and I said, it's not lost on me that, and it was the 10th, so it was World Mental Health Day, and I said, it's not lost on me that it's World Mental Health Day, and then I've had a really hard week, and she said, well, you're raising good humans, and I was like, it's so awesome to hear. So, and that's why we do all the things that we do. So we're here to talk about that. And, one of the things that I think happens with a photographer, whether it's personal or business, like you develop a relationship. And, we have seen you grow and seen you do some different things. And so I'm really excited. You are actually getting into, a little bit of a new development for your business. We have changed the name a little bit. We're adding some services. Yep. So tell us about that.
Yeah. So photography is still there. That will always be my main focus, my bread and butter, so to speak. But over the last 18 months to 2 years, really have dove into marketing. Because, you know, when sometimes portraits aren't there for whatever reason, whether we're going through a recession or COVID or something, businesses still have to do business. We still have to market our businesses. And so that's where I was like, you know, we've got to, for long term, we have to add a little something here. So now offering social media management, content creation. We can do a little bit. We can do it all. I'm currently creating content for 2 different businesses and manage their social media. So I handle it all for them. It takes it off their plate. SEO blogging. SEO is actually one of the best things you can do for your business so people can find you. So SEO rich blogging really helps drive traffic to websites. And that's one of those things that is cumbersome for business owners to do. It adds a lot to their plate, and taking that off really helps them to focus on running their business. So those are 2 large pieces that I've added. And now we're Autumn Hollifield Creative instead of Autumn Hollifield Photography to encompass all those services.
Well, I think that is very great description of what you're doing, because I often talk to people about how important those things are, and it's something that on a small level the chamber helps with. You know, people have a login, and our website is database driven, and it's all driven by a chamber master. And thankfully, as a chamber, we have tools, because that is something that is, you know, a global thing. There are chambers all across the world. And so thankfully there are tools for us to use. And I tell people we have a really high Google search, you know, and people have websites within our website. If they don't have one, it's a great place to start, is making sure that all your info is up to date with us. So it's so awesome to hear another, you know, member, another service provider say these
just
things
kind of
are important.
that
It's so important. And it's something that at the chamber we're here to support and introduce people to people like you, or to help people realize, because even at the chamber, I mean, all of those things are important for us, social media and marketing. And it's something that we're struggling with post-COVID, is telling our story and retaining our member investors. And, you know, on a previous show, I was talking to another chamber champ about how we're so thankful that they invest in us, because they invest in us and we invest in them and the community. And so telling your story is hard. And so that's something for every business that they struggle. And that stuff is time consuming.
It is.
And so that's why it's so important to have a resource like you.
Yeah, I agree. Word of mouth is always going to be your most reliable and your best form of advertising, right? You treat a customer well, you treat a client well, you're involved in your community. People want to talk about you. But in order to get new business and to keep that going, you have to be able to be found. Social media comes into play, which kind of ties into both of that. If you're doing a good job, people want to share you. So if you have an active social media presence, people are tagging you. They're making sure to, you know, like, for example, if I do photos for your family and you want to share them, you know, I would hope, and you encourage those clients to tag you, to give you a shout out, to let your friends and family know who did them for you and how happy you are. So there's your word of mouth, but that's also, you know, that social media presence is so powerful. And on the SEO side, like, you know, people who move into town who don't have a go-to for that particular service they need, whether it's an accountant or a real estate agent or a photographer, being able to be found by a Google search, you know, popping up in that first page, even the top 3 is super important. Most people don't go to page 2. You know, you have to land on that first page, and you can do it and spend a lot of money, but it's very possible to do it organically. And that's where I come in to help, you know, make sure that you have the right things on your site, the keywords you need, and the ones that you don't, that are not ranking. So it's a puzzle, and it's ever changing. Algorithms are ever changing. And if you're trying to run a business, it's very hard to stay on top of all that and do your job and manage your employees. And outsourcing some of those things it's well worth it. It'll save you a lot of stress and a lot of time.
Investing in someone like you, to me, is a no-brainer, because I can't tell you how many times like when we meet with a member and we're setting up their profile and we say to them, okay, so what are your keywords for your business?
And they don't know.
And they don't know.
Yeah.
And they don't, because they haven't had to think about it or haven't, and a lot of times their profiles don't get built, which is why people see the chamber continue to take opportunities to say, guys, update your profile.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, like, the biggest thing for that is for you to be able to be found, like you said. And sometimes they just don't know. So I think it's amazing.
You're leaving a lot on the table.
They are. And what about what you're doing is the fact that you have the ability to put the visual with it, right? Because like, let's just take like me personally, for example, people will say to me, oh, I love your pictures on Facebook. I love following you. And sometimes they mean like all the pictures, because obviously I love pictures too. Shane and I, we take tons of pictures of our kids and everything. But a lot of times they mean professional pictures. And they are 99.9% of my professional pictures are done by you. And so I'll say to people, oh yeah, I'm like, Autumn. And they're like, man, like your kids are so photogenic, but man, she just does such a good job.
It wasn't always that way. Well, there was a few years there where it was tough.
But they were small.
Yeah,
so,
young kids, if they're under 5 or 6 years
always made it
old,
happen.
you gotta hope for the best, have low expectations, and usually you're pleasantly surprised, but that's just a tough age.
Well, it's funny because my in-laws, I've had people cry over your pictures because we've given them for Christmas or whatever. It's hard to keep stuff a secret, but we have done some. But, so for me, that was what led to the professional piece. And like my directory, like I'm so happy with, we have had the greatest pictures to showcase our businesses. And then we've done shoots with you where we've gone out and just taken pictures of Reidsville for filler, and so that's helped us build. And I'm still pulling from those. Like we have an expo coming up and the sponsors were like, hey, we need some pictures of things in Reidsville. And
you have them.
And I do. And it's like, and I, former coworker works for one of those businesses now. And she's like, hey friend, like, I know we have pictures. Can you send them to me? And I'm like, yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
That's gathering content is so important because, we get involved in the day-to-day, right? You dedicate 1 day a month or half a day a month to gathering content, whether that's, photographing your product, shooting some behind the scenes video featuring, again, one of your products. You have that to pull from, so you're not scrambling to put something together that's mediocre, right? You have a file to pull from. You can post that. You can even have it pre-written. You can have someone else do it. But having that content that you can pull from is so vital.
It's funny that you say that, but I am a firm believer in timing is everything. And so this conversation could not be more present. We were doing this right before the expo, and Katie and I spent an hour together yesterday planning what our social media looks like from now until the expo. And I have never had A, staff member, but B, someone behind the scenes who's been pushing me, which would be you. And then C, like the ability to have the foresight and to be our committees, which you are now a part of moving forward. Our committees have done so much work and we've gotten so ahead of the game that I actually had time to sit down and say, how do we market this event even better than all the normal things we do? And so we spent time working on, and not just that, our normal content so that the busyness of the event is not keeping us from not doing.
You're creating a strategy. You're creating a calendar. You're having, this is what we need to do. This is what we need to do it. And we know that people are active mostly between 8 and 10 a.m. because they're getting to work and they're scrolling on their phones.
Yes.
So you can look at those insights inside of your Instagram and your Facebook and see when are things getting viewed? How long are they getting viewed?
So I just said that to her because I said, oh, we're talking about posting.
You can't just post up and hope it works.
No, and I told her, I was like, we've been posting during the day, but it's now telling us our people are active at 9 o'clock at night. So we need to schedule these things that we're doing to
when
be
people are off to work. Lunch break,
or when they're laying in the bed, getting ready for bed, or sit. Yep. And so I told her, I was like, we really need to focus on that for the next 2 weeks. And so by doing all that content, like I felt like I was channeling all the things that I know. I've been here for 13 now, going on 14 years, and I've known for 12 that I needed to have calendars, but the time to do it or the creativity.
Yeah.
And so she and I, like, we were spitting stuff out, but having somebody else who understands it on staff has been crucial. So I really think that if people can understand what that looks like. And so for me, I think about one of the things that you've branched out into doing is real estate pictures. And that's huge. Like that whole being able to, and I'm totally losing the word that I'm looking for, but to take the pictures of the staging of the house and then taking the pictures. That's crazy how much of a difference it makes for people's listings. It does.
And I'll be honest with you, it's been one of the hardest things to break into.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone has someone that their go-to, or there's larger companies who have people that work for them that go. And I've actually kind of dabbled in a little bit of that. But photography for real estate it's crucial. I don't see many listings nowadays that don't have professional pictures. Especially like Airbnb or VRBO. Yes. Is that how you say it? You know, that's how they market. That's how they're making money. It's a business. So they have to be great and they have to really showcase the home. But that 360 tour, so people can really get a feel for the layout, especially if they are coming from out of town or out of state and they're not able to view the home in person, they can actually get a feel for, you know, going through that home. But it is something that I'm really trying to break into, especially during the slower months that portraits are not, you know, at the forefront, that November to February, March timeframe and the heat of the summer. People are not wanting to get in front of the camera and sweat, or, you know, it's bleak outside. There's not much green going on. So portraits are a little bit slower. So to fill that, the social media management, the real estate, that's, you know, always going. So
speaking of portraits, you've got some sessions coming up, and I read your post when you posted it. I'm going to try not to get emotional. You know, Shane and I have family.
It's been a rough 2 weeks here in North Carolina.
It has. And Shane has family in East Tennessee, and we have tons of friends and people that we know, and even people in Western North Carolina, because they're both right on the state line. And so, you know, I have avoided talking about it like in a professional setting like this because I really can't. So tell us about what led you to doing those and when those are, and if you still have any available.
Yeah. So like I said, we know the hurricane that came through, we're going to have to talk about it a little bit just to give it some context.
Yeah.
No one really expected it. Like, we knew it was coming and it was forecasted to be catastrophic. They said, you know, this was the worst that we were going to see since like 1916 or something, you know? And even when we're supposed to get bad weather here, we're still of the mindset we're going to be fine. It's okay. We're going to have some downed trees. We're going to lose power, but we've never experienced anything. We've never experienced it in our lifetime. And so watching it, you know, and the photos and the videos that are coming out, I avoided talking about it. I mean, we were hearing it. We give money. We what do we need to do? But it's just, it was the feeling of knowing that it's going to take years to rebuild and life goes on. You know, we're going about our business. Here I am posting about something that I'm doing in December to get business, and these people have lost their homes. And it was that overwhelming feeling of knowing life has to go on and we're still having to do things for ourselves to make a living while other people are suffering. It was just, it's a weird feeling. It's a really weird feeling. So the only thing that I knew to do was, we all have gifts, right? We all have things that we contribute to our society, to contribute to the world. And this is mine. This is how I'm able to bless people and make them happy. So my thought process was, I can offer something that people want and then give back. And I did an Instagram story a few days later because people kept asking, well, what are we buying? Who's it going to? They want to know where their money's going. I said, guys, I'll be honest. In 3 weeks, when these sessions take place, that need could look very different. You know, I know that people are posting that, you know, they have tons of water now. They have different things. They're overflowing. So let's look and see in 3 weeks what that need is. Is it infant formula? Is it warm clothing for, you know, cold weather's coming. They don't have clothes. So we'll assess. I'll reach out to organizations. Wine to Water is a very good organization. A friend of mine has family that runs that. So, you know, it's just one of those things we'll have to look and see. But that was the thought process behind it, was I can do this. I can offer it. People don't just have to blindly just donate to whatever. They can get something in return. And that makes, you know, them feel good, me feel good. It helps everybody. And I feel like we need to use our gifts, right? This is mine. This is what I love to do. And that's how I'm able to give back.
Yeah. And, you know, I think there's a piece where we're having to think about what we can do. And so you're right. Like, life goes on. Kids still have to go to school. Yeah. We still have to do things here, and we still have bills to pay. And by us doing the things that make us happy and successful gives us the ability to, in turn, give and continue to support and continue to travel. Because like you said, it's going to take years. And so when this initial rush of all the feeling of helplessness and wanting to help, but there are going to be a lot of people who are going to turn their backs and just keep moving. And there are those of us who are going to keep looking.
And the need's still going to be there.
Yeah, and the need's still going to be there. And so I think that's another thing that I wanted to do, is knowing for my mental health, like, that this is a busy time of year. Like, I've done donations. I've done specifically where if my donation was being doubled, there were a lot of places where there were matching donations that I did. But, you know, also from a chamber perspective, sharing the things that people were doing and needed help with. But we've been a big part of more than one where they were helicoptering in to places that couldn't be. So, you know, I felt like that was the right thing. And then when season comes and goes for us and we get more into November, December, you know, we made sure family was okay at the time, and we've had family go up. Right. But, you know, I told my husband, our time will come. Our time will come when people have laid off and we have the ability to go and do and help. So I think it's awesome that you're doing the portraits.
It's going to come in waves.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Like this first wave here, there's lots of people helping. You know, around Christmas, it'll still be on people's minds. But after that, and it's like I said, this is going to take so long.
Yeah, and some things will never be the same.
And some things, yeah, you're right. Some people won't ever fully recover from it. They've lost animals that were part of their livelihood, that they, you know, that's how they made a living. So it's just, it's tough.
It is really tough. It is.
We're fortunate to live where we live.
We are. We're not the coast and we're not the mountains. And, you know, I heard my husband explaining it to my children because of somebody who loves the mountains and has gone there his whole life because of family, his dad being from the mountains. And, you know, he tried to explain to them, like, you know, there's nowhere for the water to go. Like, you know, it's in the valleys between the mountains, and that's where the roads were, because that's how they
very
could,
unforgiving terrain.
Yeah. So, and it's just a really bad situation. But they're tough people, and they will pull themselves up by their bootstraps with the help of their neighbors. And, you know, we're all doing our part. So, you've got other sessions coming up that you've just put out. You always do some Christmas. So tell us a little bit about that.
So we're going to do, not first ever, but first ever in a long time, indoor Christmas sessions. The weather is always an issue that time of year around November, December, whether it's too cold or it's, honestly, it can be too warm here in North Carolina for sweaters and jeans and coats and things. They're going to be in a beautiful studio downtown in Graham. There's only 7 available, and I think you've already snagged one. So there's 6 left. And they're great for Christmas cards. They're great for, you know, gifts for friends and family. They're going to be very, very classic looking. Exposed brick wall, beautiful green, a very golden antique couch. It's a beautiful setup.
It's funny because I, you know, talking about all the things, like I watched my daughter get out of the car this morning and start walking to school, and my niece was right behind us, and they, you know, paired up and walked into school together, and Riley Kate dropped something, so Kylie reached over and picked it up for her, and then, like, you know, and I was just thinking about, it's so important to me. That's why I love portraits, but in pictures and photos, however you want to, which one you're talking about, but it's so important to me to, like, grab them at that moment. And, you know, that's something you've really taught me too, is doesn't matter how I feel about how I look at the moment, or because, like, right now, Riley Kate's in her 2nd set of braces. She looks different. She's going to look different this time next year. So I love that we document every single year. And I love that my mother-in-law started the tradition of putting those pictures on her Christmas cards. So she doesn't send them out of her and her husband. She sends them out of the family.
That's what she's proud of.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so for me, even if we don't get any other pictures done at any point in the year, I know we're going to do those. Yeah. And I know that every year I can look and put them together. And It just makes me so happy. It's just one of my...
It's funny. I've got 2 teenage girls, like I said. One loves the camera. One won't. I have to bribe her to let me even just snap something with my phone. But they do let me do their portraits every year around their birthday. And seeing them year after year, like they actually like going back and looking at them. You know, looking back at old family photos, Dad took a lot, Mom took a lot. Mom's not in a lot. And that's something that I always tell my moms is like, don't worry about it. Your kids are going to want to go back and see these, even if you just take them and then you put them away. It's not for you. It is. It should be. But it's for your kids. It's for your grandkids. You know, you want to be documented. You want to be them to see that you were there. Yeah. You know? And then as far as like portraits, I think I've told you this too. And like, I'm trying to help them with outfits and stuff. I was like, look, you put on what you like as the mom. What do you feel good in? What do you feel like this is, you know, you feel great. Then build everyone else's outfits around you. Because if you don't like what you look like in the photo, you're not going to like it at all. It doesn't matter what anybody else looks like. So mom needs to be comfortable. Mom needs to look good. And then you can build everybody else around mom. Yeah.
Such great advice. And you're so great to give color schemes and palettes and, hey, pick something in this family. And you're honest with people. And I think, I mean, at the end of the day, like that honesty is what drives the success of your portraits. And
portraits don't have to break the bank. I don't ever say go out and buy new outfits. See what you got in your closet. You might need to
like
purchase a piece to help for a family member, but it should never be that you have to buy clothes that you don't normally wear or something fancy for your portrait. You want to be real. You want to be you. Not a huge matchy person. I might get some flack for this. I don't like, you know, the khaki and all white. I don't like the jeans and blue shirts. I mix it up, you know, have complementary colors, put some textures in there. If you got somebody who, you know, loves funky hats, like or a scarf, throw it in there. Like let people be themselves and let them complement each other. Your portrait will stand the test of time.
Absolutely.
That portrait will be the one that's hung for years and years, that you're not in 10 years going, what were we thinking? So.
Absolutely. Well, we are almost out of time. So it was really fast.
You were right.
Is there anything that we need to cover that we didn't? So we're really excited. You know, you're coming on board as ambassador to try to get more invested in the Reidsville area and the Brown Summit and heading towards Greensboro, where you've had your focus for a long time. But, you know, we didn't talk about some of the cool things you've done over the years, some fitness photos and portraits. That's been, so that's something you're personally, you know, invested in.
I try not to limit what I do. I'm always open to new opportunities and new things. Like, I'm not ever going to say I don't shoot that, because it may be a really cool opportunity, even something just for me personally gratifying. But yes, I do. There's a CrossFit gym that I'm a part of in Greensboro that I have been for years, and I photograph all their competitions. And it's just, that's something that really fuels me. It's fun to do. It doesn't feel like work. Yeah. Being part of the Reidsville Chamber, I will say, the more and more you get involved and you get to know the business and the people. I mean, these are people who they run small businesses. You know, small businesses are vital. And we all hear it around Small Business Saturday and things, that, like, you know, when you buy from a small business, someone does a happy dance. They notice that purchase because it helps feed their family. It helps them, whether it's not buying from a big corporation. Yep. Nothing wrong with that. But if you can shop local and you can support the people in your community, you know, what do they say? What goes around comes around. And being a part of the chamber and seeing how that really works in a small town it's been really good. Other thing, going back to the expo, we'll be there, and we're going to offer complimentary headshots at our booth. So come by, grab one. We'll send you a file that you can use. It's no cost. Just stop by and see us, and we'll get you a new headshot.
That's exciting. So excited about that. Yeah. So, all right. Well, that's it for today. So
thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being on the show. And see, it wasn't that bad.
Not so bad. I'm good.
All right, folks, that is it for today. As always, you can find us in the heart of downtown Reidsville at 140 South Scale Street, on our website at reidsvillechamber.org, and on all our social media channels. So stay tuned, and we'll see you soon.